All right, welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a genuinely fascinating and honestly kind of mind-bending text by the author Su Feng. Together, we're going to unpack this really comprehensive theory about human destiny, free will, and what the author describes as the hidden roadmap of our entire existence. Now, whether you're someone who firmly believes we forge our own paths, or you've always suspected the universe has some grand, mysterious design, this text presents a highly structured argument that everything, and I mean absolutely everything, has been mapped out well in advance. So let's jump right into it.
So to kick things off, Xu Feng makes a really bold claim here, one that pretty much challenges the very foundation of how we're taught to view the world. I mean, we're all taught from day one that through sheer effort, making good choices, and just grinding it out, we control our own lives, right? We can gain honor, dodge humiliation, and basically build our own success. But the author argues that the exact moment we believe this, we've already stepped into an abyss of confusion and the pit of affliction. Essentially, thinking you're the one in the driver's seat, that is exactly what's causing your suffering.
Which brings us to the absolutely crucial question we're wrestling with today. Are our choices really our own, or are they pre-programmed? Now, I know it sounds incredibly abstract. It's the kind of thing that's super easy to dismiss as just late-night dorm room philosophy. But to prove his point, the author doesn't just rely on theoretical concepts. Instead, he points us directly towards some astonishing, real-world phenomena. And he starts with a famous historical case that is guaranteed to make you rethink the whole concept of a coincidence. Moving right along into Section 1, the twin coincidences, evidence of the program.
Let's explore the unbelievable phenomena of twins separated at birth, which Xu Feng uses as undeniable evidence for his theory of a preset human script. Take a look at the sheer statistical impossibility of the famous Jim twins, Jim Lewis and Jim Springer. Separated just weeks after birth, they were adopted by two completely different families who didn't even know each other. Decades go by and they finally reunite in 1979 at the age of 39. And the similarities are staggering. Both of them married a woman named Linda. Both got divorced and then both married a second woman named Betty. They both named their sons James Allen, though one spelled it with one L and the other with two. Their childhood dogs, both named Toy. They even drove the exact same model and color of Chevrolet. According to Xu Feng, you simply cannot explain this away with shared genetics. The adoptive parents, completely independent of one another, chose the names for those childhood dogs. Genes don't name a dog Toy. So the author argues this proves their life preferences and major events were literally executing a hidden code.
And if you think the Jim twins were just some bizarre, isolated fluke, let's look at a much more modern example cited in the text, the Sun sisters from Jiangsu, China. Born in 1991, they were separated shortly after birth. Fast forward 30 whole years to 2022. Sun Ye is hosting a video live stream, and a viewer chimes in, mistaking her for their neighbor, Sun Yan. Long story short, they connect and realize they are identical twins. They had the same hair, the same style, the exact same voice. But the detail that really hits the nail on the head for Zheng Feng's argument? During those 30 years apart, both women had sons. And independently, without any knowledge of each other whatsoever, they both gave their sons the exact same English name, Kevin.
And this brings us to a really profound realization in the text. Xu Feng writes, when we place two similar actions side by side, we begin to see the inevitability behind a single act. Basically, if you just look at one person naming their kid Kevin or naming their dog Toy, it looks completely like free will. But stacking these impossible coincidences side by side, it reveals the truth. Our so-called personal preferences, our spontaneous decisions, our random likes and dislikes, they are actually being executed unknowingly by a hidden script, a script we are totally blind to. So if it's not genetics, and it defies all bounds of random probability, what on earth is pulling the strings?
Well, that brings us to Section 2, the program of life, and this concept of the preset roadmap.
So here is how this core concept actually works. Xu Feng proposes that life basically operates on three major programs, kind of like software running silently in the background on your computer. The first is DNA, the second is our immune system, but the third one, the big one, is the focus of this explainer, the program of life. This is defined as a preset roadmap that firmly governs your entire journey. It literally dictates your wealth, your health, the specific illnesses you're going to get, your major turning points, your natural talents, and every single encounter you have with another person. Every psychological activity, every word spoken, every behavior, the whole shebang is mapped out in this overarching program.
To back this up, the text actually pulls from historical and religious precedents too, keeping an impartial view on ancient wisdom. For instance, citing Mark 13:11 from the Bible. That's the passage that tells individuals going on trial not to worry beforehand about what to say, because, quote, "It is not you who are speaking, but the Holy Spirit." Xiufeng uses this to argue that this concept isn't entirely new. Ancient wisdom has hinted for a very long time that human speech and action are frequently arranged by a higher program or force, rather than originating from our own autonomous free will. The words you think you are spontaneously choosing right now, they've already been queued up for you to say.
And that brings us to a fascinating number, 0. According to this theory, the universe is perfectly, flawlessly efficient. From the perspective of this grand program, the number of superfluous words ever spoken in history is exactly 0. The number of wasted actions? 0. The number of completely meaningless encounters or unjustly treated souls in the universe is exactly 0. To us down here, life might look like a tangled, chaotic mess of random events, but through the lens of the program, everything is unfolding in an incredibly orderly, precise, and calculated way. Which, naturally, leads us to a highly practical question.
Let's get into Section 3, Living with Destiny, Navigating Daily Life. Okay, you might be thinking, if absolutely everything is completely pre-programmed and we are entirely powerless to change our roadmap, how on earth are we supposed to navigate our day-to-day lives? Do we just sit on the couch and wait for things to happen? Actually, scratch that. It's more like the opposite. Rather than falling into despair, Xiufeng distills his advice into these incredibly empowering philosophical pillars. First, joyfully accept your present reality. Weather whatever storm the program assigns you, whether you're rich or poor, perfectly healthy or battling an illness. Second, leap into your desires without overthinking it. If you want to do something, do it boldly. Don't worry about judgment or regret, because guess what? Success and failure are already arranged anyway. Third, let things flow like a river, and just trust the order of destiny. And finally, find peace in the ultimate balance of the universe. Believe that whatever is lost in the human world is inevitably gained elsewhere.
He even uses this really striking proverb to underline his point about timing. When the king of hell calls a person to die at the 3rd watch, he will never spare him until the 5th. You're highly encouraged to just let everything unfold naturally. If it's your designated time to enjoy great blessings, enjoy them fully. Live it up. If it's time to endure deep suffering, well, endure it. And most importantly, you have to cast away any anxiety or fear about death. Your departure time is literally set in the code, so worrying about it is entirely futile.
Now I hear you asking, what if I'm in a terrible situation, like a really bad environment? Am I just supposed to stay there? The text gives some surprisingly pragmatic advice for dealing with a trap. Step 1. If an opportunity arises to escape, take it. Seriously, do not miss your chance. The very desire to escape is part of your program too. But step 2, if you look around and realize escape is truly 100% hopeless, don't waste your precious energy on anger or resentment. Accept it calmly. Sit back and observe everything happening around you with the cool, detached composure of a philosopher.
And to really drive this message of radical acceptance home, the author uses a metaphor that is, well, it's pretty unforgettable and honestly quite funny. If the program has assigned you to be a toe in the grand body of the universe, don't spend your whole life envying the fingers. And if you are arranged to be a buttock, do not be bitter and resentful that you weren't chosen to be a face. Since the program has already made these arrangements, you should joyfully be a toe or a buttock. Resentment is completely useless because, again, the code has already been written.
Ultimately, the entire message here advises yielding completely. By placing your life entirely in the hands of the greatest creator, or the Tao, you actually achieve total freedom. You stop fighting the current. You move according to your nature, you transform according to your conditions, and you allow yourself to be vast and perfectly unrestrained by the anxieties of destiny's design. You just roam freely along the path that was perfectly paved for you before you were even born.
Which leaves us with one final, incredibly provocative thought to ponder as we wrap up this explainer. Think about it. You clicked on this video. You stayed and listened to this entire breakdown. Was that your conscious choice, or was that simply the code running its natural course? If every single choice you make is already programmed, what will your program make you do next? Thanks so much for learning with us today, and we'll catch you in the next explainer.